I'm Jenica Salvador, and my report is the coverage of internal control, which is the components of internal control. The internal control have 5 components, and I will discuss the 2 components, which is the control environment, entities, risk assessment process. So I will discuss the first components, control environment. Control environment means the overall attitude, awareness, and actions of directors and management regarding the internal control system and its importance in the entity. It says that communication is the important entity to provide the foundational basis for carrying out internal control systems in an organization. Factors reflected in the control environment including the function of the board of directors and its committee, management's philosophy and operating styles, the entity's organizational structure and methods of assigning authority and responsibility, the management's control systems, including the internal audit function, personnel policies and procedures, and segregation of duties. This is the factors of control environment. Several factors comprise the control environment, including the communication and enforcement of integrity and ethical values, commitment to competence, participation by those charged with governance, management's philosophy and operating style, organizational structure, assignment of authority and responsibility, human resource policies and procedures. I will discuss the communication and enforcement of integrity and ethical values. Integrity and ethical values are essential elements of the internal control environment. They affect the design, administration, and monitoring of other components of internal control. Integrity and ethical values, they include the management's actions to remove or reduce incentives and temptations that might prompt personnel to engage in dishonest, illegal, or unethical acts. This is also include the communication of entity values and behavioral standards of personnel through the policy statements, a code of conduct, and managements of appropriate behavior. Next is the commitment to competence. Commitment to competence means that management considers the competence levels for particular jobs and determining the skills and knowledge required of each employee, and that it hires employees competent to perform the task. This commitment to competence, it says that organizations hires and retains competent employees to carry out tasks and to provide appropriate internal and external training and evaluation. Next is the participation by those charged with governance. An entity's control consciousness is influenced significantly by those charged with governance. It is also attributes the charge with governance, including the independence from management, the experience and stature, the extent of their involvement and scrutiny of activities, the appropriateness of their actions, the information they receive, the degree to which difficult questions are raised and pursued with management, and their interactions with internal and external auditors. Next is the management's philosophy and operating style. This refers to management's attitude towards business risk, financial reporting, meeting budget, profit, and other established goals which all have impact on the reliability of the financial statements. In this managing business risks, this include the financial, operating, and compliance risk, and it is also appropriately reflected in policies and procedures. And the appropriate attitudes towards financial reporting are reflected also in the related policies and procedures. Next is the organizational structure. Responsibilities and authorities of the various personnel within the organization should be established in such manner as to assist the entity in meeting its goals and objectives, and ensures that the transactions are processed, recorded, summarized, and reported in an accurate and timely manner. So, in this organizational structure, it is properly designed and documented, and organizational charts, job descriptions, and to appropriate lines of reporting are put in place. Assignment of authority and responsibility. Personnel within an organization need to have clear understanding of their responsibilities and the rules and regulations that govern their actions So it is appropriate levels of authority and responsibility which are assigned and to those qualified and have experienced individuals that they can provide the basis of accountability. And the last is the human resource policies and procedures. Perhaps the most important element of an internal accounting control system is the people who perform and execute the established policies and procedures. It is also the personal policies should be adopted by the client to reasonably ensure that only capable and honest person that they can hire and return. Next is the competence, which is the entity's risk assessment process. An entity's risk assessment process is its process for identifying and responding to business risk and the result thereof. So, in these entities, it is include how the management identifies risk relevant to the preparation of financial statements that are presented fairly in all material respects in accordance with the entity's applicable financial reporting framework, estimates their significance, assesses the likelihood of their occurrence, and decides upon actions to manage them. For example, the entity's risk assessment process may address how the entity considers there's the possibility of unrecorded transactions or identifies and analyzes significant estimates recorded in the financial statements. Risk can arise or change due to circumstances such as the following: changes in operating environment, which is the regulatory of operating environment that result in changes in competitive pressures and significantly different risk. And the next is new personnel, which is they have a different focus on or understanding of internal control. And the next is rapid growth, which is the significant and rapid expansion of operations can strain controls and increase the risk of a breakdown in controls. Next is the new technology. Incorporating new technologies into production processes or information systems may change the risk associated with internal control. The new business models, products, or activities entering into business areas or transactions with which an entity has little experience may introduce new risks associated with internal control. Corporate restructuring. It may be accompanied by staff reductions and changes in supervision and segregation of duties that may change the risk associated within internal control. Expanded foreign operations. It is expansion or acquisition of foreign operations carries new and often unique risks that may affect internal control. For example, additional or change risk from foreign currency transactions. And the last is new accounting pronouncements, which adapt of new accounting principles or changing accounting principles that may affect risk and preparing financial statements. That's all. Thank you.